Welcome to the Alive Society podcast, where ordinary is canceled and playing it safe is not on the menu. Life is calling. Are you answering? I'm your host, Levi Culley, and we're diving headfirst into the stories of trailblazers, risk takers, and go-getters who've mastered the art of living life loud, proud, and totally alive. This is your wake-up call, my friend. We're here to shake you out of the mundane, pull you out of autopilot, and ignite the fire in your soul to become the main character in your story. Because life is too short to sit on the sidelines. It's time to own your passion, chase your purpose, and reclaim your aliveness. Get ready to laugh, cry, and feel all the feels as we uncover the secrets to fearless living. This is more than a podcast, it's a movement. The Alive Society is your tribe, and together, we're creating lives that feel like an epic adventure. So buckle up, hit play, and let's get alive. Welcome to the Alive Society podcast, and let's make this life unforgettable. Welcome to the Alive Society podcast. This is Levi Culley, your host, and I want to show you what this podcast is all about. This is episode 1. So this is always going to be where you come to find out what this is all about, guys. So a little bit more about what we do. This is all about becoming bigger, better, more authentic, and true to yourself. You know, life, we all know these people who are NPCs or background characters in their lives who are like robots, like zombies, I call them sometimes, even like paperweights. Just people who, bless their souls, I love them to death, but they just aren't alive. They are not playing main character in their own life and in their story. And all I want to do here with this podcast is open people's souls up to hear more about what makes them feel alive, more about why they are alive in their life, and help kill this virus that's quickly spreading amongst men and women in the world that make them think that they have to be the most boring. And I seriously think there's so many facets to this ideology that it's got to be a whole podcast. And I call it a society because we're a society here. You as a listener, having listened to one episode, you are therefore invited to join the Alive Society and live a life more alive. And so where this all sprouts for me, I'm 23 years old. I grew up here in South Jordan, Utah, and I have a ton of great mentors. And I seriously think that people are who they were raised to be. So I wasn't born this way. I mean, I seriously think that people are raised by the people around them. And I was just blessed to be around incredible people. My parents are absolutely drop dead incredible. I have mentors and coaches and people that just friends that are true friends. I've been through so much that has taught me what's really, really important in life. And I just love hearing people and getting their advice. And I want to invite all to come into this ideology of living louder, faster, harder, better, truer, and more authentic to yourself. Basic gist on me, I am a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. He is my Savior, and I love anybody who believes in anything, because when you really think about it, everything is true. Every religion, there's facets of truth everywhere, and I'm open ears to anybody who has a belief in a higher power or the universe in general. And I love that ideology that there is something greater. There's something greater in life. And so I can start my story. I served a mission for my church in Honduras. I was there for an entire year. I learned Spanish to go serve this mission, and I taught about Jesus. And while I was there, my brother had been fighting cancer. So I grew up in a family with 3 siblings, and me and my brother were closest in age, best friends. I didn't have a ton of friends growing up. I had him, though, and he was my ride or die, my number one. His name was Riley. And he, unfortunately, while I was on my mission, he gave me a call after I had been out for a year, and he called me saying that they had just done a brain op. They just opened up his head for a biopsy. They did a bunch of tests, and his cancer was back, and it was back for good. So that's where my story gets interesting. That's where we all lean in on the edges of our seats, because that's where life got real for me. I mean, I was 19 at the time. That's all I had was my brother and my family and my belief system around Jesus Christ. And I got this experience, and I'm so fired up about it now that it's been so long. So don't let my excitement confuse you, but he ended up passing away about 3 months after I got that call. So like rewinding, I was out there and I had to decide if I wanted to come home or not. Obviously, I came home to be with Riley while he was struggling and fighting for his life. And what that experience taught me was how to live. And that's what this is all about. That's what inspired this, was that 3-month period of me living with Riley, living out his bucket list, seeing what a dying person really values, seeing and having conversations daily with somebody who didn't have a promise of tomorrow and absolutely had to do that day what he felt he needed and wanted to do with no repercussions or like nothing holding him back. And I want to talk about that. So we did a lot of things, he and I, when he was dying, and the first thing that went was his focus or ideology or like importance of money. The first thing that went, and that was crazy to me. I was like, wow. So making money is no longer important. And he always told me, like, money's never going to make you happy. And I just hear that so much, but you have no idea how important it is to remember that, because life can just turn into making money. And like Riley, when you're on your deathbed, I mean, that's the day of reckoning. That's where everything matters. And money, if money isn't important anymore, but it was your entire life, you have wasted your life. Point blank, period. And there is no going back. There is no second chances. When you're on your deathbed, it's over. You don't get to retry. You don't get to take it back. Time is such an interesting thing. It can go so fast. It can go so slow. And the one truth about time is you do not get it back. How you spend your time is the biggest, most important decision you will ever make in your entire life. So be alive. Join us on this journey of saying, I'm alive. There's this incredible ideology that I learned from The Muscle, Keaton Hoskins. He has a tattoo of an hourglass, and I want to get it too, but I'm a wuss, and I don't like I don't know. I want it. But anyways, the hourglass is a symbol of time. Every grain of sand represents how time passes. The infinitely true truth behind what an hourglass is that there's limited sand in the top portion of that hourglass, and it will always fall. There is no pausing it. There is no knowing how many grains of sand are in the top of that hourglass, and you will never know when it runs out. It's like an hourglass that you can't even see. So life is super interesting in that way, that our brains were just perfectly created by God, that we can't remember or tell when we're going to die, but we know we're going to die, but we're so dumb. I'm not calling everyone dumb, but we are all dumb. Like, our brains can't understand that we're going to die someday, so we keep forgetting. I seriously think that there's a lot of people out there that think they're going to live forever, and they forget this idea. And that's why the hourglass is so important to remember. Like, you won't know when your time runs out, and it's absolutely okay that we're here and we're spending our time resting, because that is an important need of humans, but there's nothing more important than the things that you will actually cherish cherish on your deathbed. I was invited once to write my own obituary, and that was an incredible experience. And I invite anyone listening to write that as well, because what do you want to have said that you spent your life doing? You get one. You don't get to retry. And I mean, the people that love you, how did you make them feel? How did you make anyone you ever met feel? Because that's really all that anyone ever remembers of you, is how did you feel about yourself when you were around them? And just an incredible thing. There's miles and miles and hours and hours and hours of podcasts that we can talk about this subject. If you went and woke up tomorrow morning, I invite you to visualize this. If you woke up tomorrow morning and the person you loved most had died, visualize that. One of my mentors invited me to visualize that every single morning. So I actually have something in my bathroom that reminds me to visualize the person I love most passing away. And it changes who I am, how I speak, how I act, and what I do every day. Because if you lost the most important person in your life today, how would you actually spend your time today? How would you have actually treated that person? How would you talk to someone else knowing that they had lost their favorite person in the world? How would you spend your time? How selfish would you be? Like, when things get real in life, we get selfish. But when things get mundane, people pleasing becomes a huge part of our story. I absolutely think that this podcast is going to open up your mind to a new way of thinking, a new way of living. And I believe in a God who invites us into a larger story. I started, after my brother had passed away, I started thinking about my future, but I had this cool experience with my brother, and I wanted to like honor that and remember what I had learned. And so what I ended up doing was I started loving more. I started having more friends. I started taking more risks. I started looking at rules as suggestions. And the more I got to the edge of breaking what I thought in life were rules, the more I realized that like I was just way too nervous, and fear was ruling my life. I still struggle with fear daily in my life today, but fear is such a lie. If there's one true thing that I can speak to today, it's that fear, it's an acronym. It's easy to remember that fear stands for false evidence appearing real. And it's just fake. It's lies. It's our brain lying to us. And there's absolutely nothing true about fear. So I was afraid of a lot of things. And when Riley died, there was nothing holding me back. I was like, dude, he's gone. He experienced life and taught me what was important, and that money and the pursuit of it is not important. But let me tell you this, he had money when he died. And that was super, super important for comfort, for the ability to have love, feel love, and to have a safe environment to feel safe and whole and spiritually sound in. And that's important. That's extremely important. So what I kind of realized was that time is super important, and money is important, but the pursuit of it is not. And so I started thinking about kind of my future, and I was pressured to go to college. So I went to college, but I went on one belief. I said, I will start a business now, because that's what I want to do. Because with a business, I know that I can use the least of my time and make the most of my money. And I have control over how much money I make with how much time I put in. So what I went ahead and did was I started a business, just a simple floor coatings business that I knew that it's something that I could do well and something that probably didn't take all of my time full time. I went to college, and what I did was I promised myself I'd go to college until I made as much as my professors. I was there for 3 semesters, and then I dropped out. I was blessed with good timing and good mentors with that business, and it took off. I ended up being one of the top epoxy floor coatings companies in the area in which I lived. The company's still out and around today. It's called Invictus Floor Coatings. I ended up selling it last summer, which is 4 years after I started it. Gave me enough money and resources to basically have more freedom and decide what I wanted to do with the rest of my life and not feel forced and rushed into anything. And just through that whole experience, it taught me so much about how much we're actually capable of, how much you can do with this time. Because again, the ideology behind time is that it's infinite, but it's so not. There is a super limited amount of time in our lives, and life is just so short, and it's not worth wasting. And I've been blessed with that ideology, that belief for my whole life. I don't do things that waste my time. I also don't do things like as far as work goes, I can confidently say that I have a belief that I don't care how passionate you are about something, work is work, and it always is going to be work, because as long as you're working for $1, it's going to be work. So why not make as much money as you can with the least amount of time as possible? That is a huge belief, and I get a lot of kickback about that. You know why? Because people want fulfillment. And for some reason, people want fulfillment out of their job. But a truly alive person who is absolutely authentic to themselves, thinking bigger, thinking better, thinking confident, they don't need fulfillment in their job. They need money out of their job. They're going to create a system that produces money. And their family's going to thank them for it. After selling my business last summer, I was super blessed to have sold it. I don't think I did much. I think God was in the works. I think I had amazing mentors, and timing was incredibly impeccable. I ended up getting into real estate. I bought rental after rental after rental, struggling through proving my income to banks, but at the end of the day, today I have 3 rentals, 4 rentals now. And I love real estate. I'm passionate about business. I'm passionate about real estate. I'm passionate about spending my time doing things that A, make me money with the least amount of time as possible, and B, make my heart come alive. I love something I love about real estate is that it sits there and it sits there and it makes money, and it sits there and it makes money in so many different ways. I'm a real estate agent part-time. I just got my license simply because I wanted to just represent myself in all my projects and deals and use that commission towards down payments. But the longer I've been in real estate, the more I realize there is so much value in being a real estate agent. And so I've helped a lot of friends buy their homes, buy land, buy investment properties, all of the above. And the more I learn about it, the more I become passionate about it. I think the only real, true, just like real source of riches and creating a kingdom for your family is through real estate. It's just real estate sitting there makes it money. The mortgage being paid makes it money. The renters inside of it makes it money. And you can make money by flipping it and improving it. It's just a machine. It is a machine that sits there. It's not going anywhere, and it's only going up. I know that real estate takes its dips, but it only will go up in the long run. And so I believe in investing in real estate. It's because it's what I know. It's what I'm good at. And along with this podcast about being alive, I want to talk about what's so good about real estate, what's so good about business, and why for a college degree to get to the next college degree, to get to the next college degree, to get to a beginner job, not making as much as you want, but being told exactly what you have to do, where, and say at your job, to be told when to show up and what to do during work, it's just unfair. It's putting a ball and chain on our hearts, which for a fact, our hearts are wild. They are meant to be in the wild. We are meant to be ravishes. We are meant to be monsters in the wild. We are meant to be men and women who get what we want and work the days and play the nights. And life is, I pray that, and you'll have to forgive me, I pray this over you, listener, that you can feel what it feels like to know that your time is short. Whatever that may be. I got a text on my phone this morning from a friend saying, well, I'm in a group chat of men and we get together. It's called the Wild Hearts group, and we meet every week. We get together and we do fun stuff. We talk about our feelings. We talk about our emotions. We talk about what's going on. We talk about God, connection, love, the beauties in our life and our relationships. We invite each other to step into larger stories, to ditch their dead old self, the non-main character version of themselves. And this group chat came on this morning, and I got a text, and it was a link to an obituary. My fellow brother's daughter died. She was 14. No one saw it coming. It was a freak accident. And her hourglass ran out this week at 14 years old. Her dad was surprised. We're all trying to be there for him, but he's distraught. And all I have to say is that what that text did to me this morning is it woke up my eyes. I instantly texted the people I loved and said, I love you so much. And I genuinely am so grateful for everything you do. Every breath you take fills me with gratitude that you are here in my life. And then what it made me do is spend my time more effectively. I'm on a diet currently, so I'm eating a lot less calories than my body usually is used to, so I'm tired. And I'm like, my time is spent tired, and I'm not here. I'm not engaged. I'm not involved in what's going on in front of my face, and it's been killing me. So I've been doing everything I can to find energy. But the truth is that energy flows through vulnerability, connection, and true authenticity. Yeah, sure, you can drink a Red Bull or whatever, but that's not going to fuel the energy that we're talking about. There's vibrations in life with every emotion that comes up. And feeling gratitude like I did this morning when that obituary came into my text strings. The amount of energy that I had at that moment was unstoppable. There's moments in our lives where we are filled with energy. Think about the most energy-giving moment of your life and ask yourself, what can I do to recreate that as often as I can? I can tell you, if you put my entire life on like a line graph with energy on one axis and time on the other, there was a moment where my energy was higher than any other time in my entire life, where I had the energy to fuel an entire city of lights, the electricity grid for New York City, it felt like. And it was when I was 6 years old, my parents bought me an electric dirt bike. And the feeling I had in my blood at that moment was larger than any other time in my entire life by 100 times. And I think about that moment a lot. It's actually an exercise that my coach is having me do, is think about that moment. Think about the amount of energy and what made that make me feel so alive, and how can I recreate that more? To this day, I own 2 motorcycles. I ride them at least once a week on dirt, on pavement, and it makes me feel alive. I have a big group of friends, and we ride motorcycles together. I do adventure biking, which involves all the great things about adventure, like the risk of death, which is hilarious. Connection, it forces connection. We go places where there's no self-service. I don't know what it is about motorcycles, but no motorcycle that rides on dirt is built to today's quality, and they all break. I don't care how new it is. They just break, okay? And so you bond over fixing the bike. You bond over the crashes. You bond over the campfire, and you bring everything on your bike and when you're adventure biking that you need to live. And it's an incredible experience. So if you ever have the chance, just get into it. And if you don't have someone to ride with, call me. Just comment. I love life. I love God. I love living. I hate anything that will take away my awareness, my ability to understand and love and empathize, and anything that gets in the way of me being alive in life. I think that for me personally, Jesus Christ makes me feel more alive than any other belief system. Alcohol and drugs have been something I've never touched, and I attribute my aliveness to that a lot, because there are people who believe that being alive can involve alcohol, drugs, and all of the evil things of the world. And seriously, that's not what I'm talking about. Being alive in life is all about being present, being engaged. That guy in the room who is just freaking glowing, that you just want to know what's going on in his life to make that guy so interesting and happy. It's because he's engaged. He's awake. He's got plans. He's got a life. You don't have a life? Get one. If you don't have friends, be one, and they will come. Because that's what we're about here at the Life Society. I'm going to interview everybody who I know and I want to get to know, who I can tell just have what it takes to wake me up, to be real, and to be a genuine, amazing, loving, true to yourself, authentic, bigger, and better person. So yes, this is another one of the 100,000 other self-development podcasts, but this podcast is different because we get real. We got authentic, and we talk about what really makes people come alive, and that is what life is all about. For more information about me, find me on Instagram or YouTube. I guess you can look me up on YouTube. I have like 0 videos, but you can see what I was up to when I was 13. Find me on Facebook. The podcast does have an Instagram. We show clips. Follow us to feel uplifted, invited, and connected. We're a society. So reach out to me. Let's start this. Let's join forces. Let's come together and be a society of alive members on this earth, to kill the background character vibe and to invite everybody to be the main character in their story. And I will leave you with this invitation. Like and subscribe to this channel. Listen to every episode and take notes, and don't end an episode without taking action. If it's as simple as texting the people that you love them and you're grateful for them, all the way up to booking that trip, getting on your knee and proposing to that girl. Once and for all, going to a therapist to work on that addiction. Going to a therapist to talk about the past. and handling the things in life that you're stupid afraid to handle, because you're worth it and you have what it takes to be great. Like and subscribe. Thanks, everybody. Out.